I'm troubled by an anomaly which is the process of the evolution of life on Earth. To put it as simply as possible, we should all be drinking seawater. And when I say we, I'm speaking on behalf of every living thing on the planet. It seems absolutely ridiculous to me that in a place where there's twice as much ocean as dry land, the ocean is poison to us. Surely the world should be abundant with life that thrives on salt water. There's just so much of it. It's probably the most abundant and most easily accessible resource on the planet, but it's poison to us. That just doesn't make sense. It's just crazy, especially when you consider that life began in the oceans anyway. Over a zillion years, life evolved and adapted and grew in the oceans, and then we crawled out onto the dry land and said, we don't want to have anything to do with the ocean anymore, thanks. Somewhere in that process, we've become very, very fussy. We've said, actually, we're only going to drink the 3% of the water that's available to us, which is fresh. And some of us have said, and I'll only do that if it comes in a bottle. Water falls from the sky, it runs down the rivers into the sea. We can use that as long as we get it before it gets to the sea. As soon as it gets into the sea, we can't touch it anymore. That's just crazy. Common sense says to me that the evolutionary process should have either made us love salt in our system or developed an organ that filters the salt out of the water for us. Either way we win. How is it that that bit of evolution never happened? That's a piece of the puzzle that's missing, and it just doesn't make sense. The evolution of life follows changes in the natural environment. The environment is changed by the dynamic forces of the earth, which include the weather and the climate and movements within the earth itself. Life has to adapt and evolve to meet those changes. The forces of nature go first, life follows. One would think that as the world has become covered with salt water, that life would adapt to accommodate salt water. It hasn't. It doesn't make sense. There's something wrong in the process, or there's something wrong in the theory. But here's a thought. Maybe with global warming and other changes in the environment, all the fresh water that's currently frozen in Antarctica and around the North Pole will melt and dilute the ocean to the point where the ratio of salt is much, much less, to the point where we might be able to drink it. That'd be a useful thing because there won't be much dry land for us anymore, and there'll be a lot more ocean. The scary thing about that is that would suggest that we have evolved beyond what the environment offers to us now. It would suggest that life has got ahead of itself and now we're waiting for the environment to catch up. That's really, really weird. All in all, one way or another, things just don't add up. We should be able to drink salt water. We can't. That's just weird.